Hello, storytellers and readers. Welcome to another episode of I'll Read That, the show where your stories get heard. So, we're coming back to another chapter in my book. Thank you so much for following along. This is Toby, Chapter 6, The Great Escape. The days at Safe Haven Animal Rescue had settled into a comforting routine. The pet adoption fair, an annual event, was approaching, and the shelter was bustling with preparations. Tabitha, now a picture of health and vitality, was at the heart of the event's excitement. Lily and her mother were deeply involved in organizing the affair, each day filled with tasks ranging from setting up booths to creating promotional materials. Lily found herself visiting Tabitha's foster home frequently. The visits were a joyful respite from her busy schedule. Tabitha had become a radiant little pup, her coat gleaming in the sunlight as she played in the garden with her foster family. Her energy was infectious, and Lily felt a warm sense of accomplishment every time she saw how far Tabitha had come. Toby, ever the loyal companion, was always by her side, his tail wagging energetically whenever he saw Tabitha. During their visits, Toby and Tabitha quickly became inseparable. From the moment Toby bounded through the gate, Tabitha's tail would wag furiously, and she'd dart toward him with excitement. There was no hesitation, no cautious approach. Tabitha greeted Toby as if he were an old friend, her energy vibrant and contagious. She was always eager to engage in play, bouncing around him and nipping playful at his legs, clearly thrilled to have a companion to match her enthusiasm. Toby, equally excited, would respond in kind, his tail wagging just as hard as hers. They would launch into a game of chase, weaving around the garden in a whirlwind of paws and laughter like barks. Tabitha, smaller but full of determination, kept pace with Toby, her puppy legs moving as fast as they could. She'd jump at him, her little body bouncing off his side with an infectious joy, while Toby would playfully roll to the ground, letting her pounce on him with all her puppy might. Their bond deepened with each visit. There was no need for Toby to teach Tabitha how to interact. She was fearless and friendly from the start. She greeted every new day with him as an adventure, exploring the yard side by side. Toby, though the older and more seasoned dog, seemed to thrive off her youthful energy. They shared toys, played tug of war, and when they grew tired, they would lie down together in the shade, Toby's head resting protectively over her as she curled up against him. Tabitha was thriving, and it was clear to everyone that Toby's presence had only added to her sense of happiness and security. The two were natural playmates, and their connection felt effortless. Every time Lily and her mother visited, they couldn't help but smile watching Toby and Tabitha play, knowing that the friendship was exactly what both dogs needed. The morning of the fair dawned crisp and bright. Lily and her mother arrived at the park early, eager to get everything ready for the day. The park was transformed into a lively festival ground, with colorful tents and booths lined up in neat rows. The air was filled with the scent of popcorn, cotton candy, and the sounds of cheerful chatter. The Pet Adoption Fair was an annual event that had become a cornerstone for the local community, bringing together animal lovers, rescue organizations, and families eager to adopt. Hosted in the heart of the town's Central Park, the fair was a vibrant celebration of rescue animals and the people who worked tirelessly to give them a second chance. Over the years, it had grown from a modest gathering into one of the most anticipated events of the year, a place where hopeful animals found their forever homes and families found new furry members. The fair was organized by several local animal rescues, including Safe Haven Animal Rescue, which had quickly become a leader in the area. Amanda, the founder, played a crucial role in the fair's success, bringing together her network of fosters, volunteers, and shelters to ensure that every animal had a chance to shine. Booths were set up with information about each pet, their personalities, and the kind of home they needed. But it wasn't just about placing animals. It was about building connections between the rescue organizations and the community. The fair was designed to be family-friendly and interactive. Rows of brightly decorated tents lined the park, each showcasing different animals available for adoption. Dogs, cats, and even the occasional rabbit or guinea pig could be found lounging in the shaded pens or playing with the volunteers. Each animal had its own story, and the volunteers were eager to share them, giving visitors insight into the background, temperament, and special needs of each pet. It helped families make informed decisions about the kind of pet that would best fit their home and lifestyle. In addition to the animal adoption booths, the fair featured a wide array of activities designed to engage the community and promote responsible pet ownership. There were obedience demonstrations, pet training workshops, and even a Meet the Vet section where prospective pet owners could ask questions about caring for their new family member. Local businesses sponsored booths selling pet supplies, and many offered discounts on adoption day, making it easier for families to prepare for bringing a new pet home. One of the fair's highlights was the adoption parade, where each adoptable animal was given a moment to shine. Volunteers walked the animals through the park, giving potential adopters a chance to see them outside of their pens, interacting with people and showing off their personalities. It was during this parade that many adopters made the emotional connection with their new pet. Watching a dog wag his tail or seeing a cat confidently walk on a leash gave families the opportunity to envision that animal as part of their daily lives. Every year, the fair resulted in dozens of adoptions, contributing significantly to the local rescue efforts. The exposure that each pet received was unparallelable, with hundreds of families coming through to meet the animals. But more than that, the fair fostered a spirit of compassion and awareness in the community. Many attendees who weren't ready to adopt left with a renewed sense of commitment to volunteer, donate, or foster, knowing that they were helping to build a safety net for animals in need. For the rescue organizations, the fair was not just about finding homes, but also about showcasing their work. Each successful adoption was a testament to the power of rescue, reinforcing the idea that every animal, no matter its past, deserved a chance of a loving future. The partnerships formed at the fair between adopters, shelters, and the local community strengthened the entire network of rescue efforts, making it easier to find homes for even the most challenging cases. The pet adoption fair had become more than an event. It was a symbol of hope for the animals and a tradition of compassion for the community. Year after year, it continued to grow, bringing more people together and ensuring that every pet had a chance to find its forever home. Lily's task was to set up the shelter's booth, which featured photos of animals available for adoption, including Tabitha. They had created an inviting display with bright banners, informational brochures, and an array of adoption success stories. The booth also had a section dedicated to the shelter's mission and the ways people could contribute to their cause. Tabitha's foster family arrived with her in tow, her little tail wagging in excitement as they set up a cozy corner for her. They had brought along blankets, toys, and a small canopy to provide shade. Tabitha seemed to bask in the attention from the crowd, her playful demeanor drawing smiles from everyone who passed by. As the fair officially opened, visitors began to stream in. Families with children, couples, and individuals wandered through the park, exploring the various booths and participating in the activities. Lily and her mother worked tirelessly, engaging with potential adopters and sharing stories about the animals in the shelter's care. Lily was particularly focused on promoting Tabitha. She spoke enthusiastically about the little puppy's journey from a stray to a healthy, vibrant dog. She highlighted how Tabitha had transformed under the care of her foster family and how she was now ready to find a forever home. Throughout the day, Tabitha was the center of attention at her corner of the fair. The children who visited were enchanted by her playful antics, and the adults were impressed by her sweet nature. Lily was thrilled to see the positive response, hoping that Tabitha would find a loving family soon. Despite the festive atmosphere, the day was not without its challenges. The fairgrounds were crowded, and managing the flow of visitors while keeping track of the animals required constant vigilance. Lily occasionally glanced over at Tabitha, ensuring that she was safe and comfortable amidst the bustling activity. The event was in full swing, with music playing, booths bustling, and children running around excitedly. The warm afternoon air was filled with the laughter and the occasional bark or meow from the pets up for adoption. Suddenly, a loud commotion erupted near the edge of the fairgrounds. Lily's attention was drawn by a sharp, frantic barking sound, and she saw a small dog, a terrier mix with a scruffy brown fur, darting through the crowd. Its ears were pinned back, eyes wide with terror, and its tiny body seemed to tremble as it weaved in and out of people's legs, barking wildly. The dog was clearly spooked, but Lily couldn't tell why. It moved erratically, its tail tucked tightly between its legs, as if trying to escape from some unseen danger. Fairgoers began to murmur with concern, stepping aside to avoid the panicked terrier. Lily's heart raced as she watched the scene unfold. The dog's frantic behavior was causing alarm amongst the attendees, and she could see that it was at risk of getting lost, or worse, running into a busy street just beyond the fairgrounds. "Toby, stay with Tabitha," she called firmly over her shoulder, her voice filled with concern, but steady. Toby, sensing the seriousness of the moment, sat protectively beside Tabitha, his eyes following Lily as she pushed her way through the crowd. As Lily made her way closer to the source of the commotion, she noticed a little boy, no older than 6 or 7, standing near the edge of the crowd. He was holding a balloon shaped like a bright red dragon, and he was waving it wildly in the air, clearly enjoying himself. The terrier mix had been nearby when the boy, in his excitement, had let out a loud shout and jerked the balloon down toward the dog in a playful attempt to get its attention. But to the already nervous terrier, the large, flapping balloon looked more like a monstrous predator than a toy. Startled, the dog had bolted, its terror growing with every passing second. The boy, oblivious to the chaos he had caused, continued waving the balloon as the dog darted left and right, searching for a way out. Lily understood immediately. This wasn't just a case of a skittish dog, it was pure panic. The terrier had managed to make its way to the edge of the fairgrounds, where the crowd was thinner and the open street loomed just beyond the park gates. Lily quickened her pace, trying to keep up with the terrified dog before it could get too far. "Hey, it's okay. Easy now," she called out in a soothing voice, trying to make herself heard over the noise of the fair. The little boy, now realizing that something was wrong, looked at his balloon and then at the fleeing dog with wide, worried eyes. His mother, catching on at the situation, quickly took the balloon from his hands and knelt down beside him, murmuring softly to comfort him. Meanwhile, Lily was closing the gap between her and the dog. She knelt down a few feet away, her hands outstretched, speaking in a calm, gentle voice. "It's okay, sweetie. You're safe. Come here," she cooed, her tone as soft as she could manage in the chaos. The terrier stopped for a moment, its small body trembling as it hesitated. It glanced back at the crowd, still wary of the balloon that had scared it, then at Lily, whose kind eyes and calm voice seemed to break through its fear. After what felt like an eternity, the dog cautiously took a step toward Lily, then another. Lily remained still, her hand extended, ready to comfort the little terrier when it finally made its way to her. She could feel the tension in the air start to dissipate as the dog inched closer. When it finally reached her, Lily gently scooped the trembling terrier into her arms, cradling it against her chest as she stroked its fur. "There we go," Lily whispered, feeling the dog's rapid heartbeat begin to slow. The little terrier let out a shaky sigh, burying its head into the crook of her arm. As the crowd around them relaxed, a few people clapped quietly, relieved that the situation had calmed. Lily smiled softly, grateful she had been able to help. She stood up carefully, still holding the dog, and made her way over to one of the volunteers from the adoption booths, who quickly took over, offering the terrier some water and a place to rest. Amanda, the shelter's coordinator, spotted Lily and quickly approached. "Thank you, Lily," she said, taking the terrier into her arms. "We've been trying to catch this little guy. He got spooked and bolted. We'll make sure he's reunited with his owner safely." Lily nodded, feeling a sense of accomplishment. She glanced back to Tabitha and Toby, who were watching the scene unfold with wide eyes. "Everything's okay," she said softly, reassuring them both. Toby sat attentive next to Tabitha, his eyes always alert with ears twitching with every new sound that reached them. The pet adoption fair was buzzing with activity, with families moving in and out of booths, laughter and chatter filling the air. But Toby's focus was on his little friend, Tabitha. His tail thumped lightly against the ground as he watched her playfully sniff the grass, clearly enjoying his outing. His job, however, was to stay vigilant, to make sure nothing unexpected happened. As his eyes scanned the busy fairground, something caught his attention. A sharp bark that sliced through the general noise of the event. His ears perked up immediately. There was something frantic about the sound. Toby turned his head toward the noise, his eyes narrowing as he spotted a small dog, a terrier mix, zigzagging through the crowd in a wild, panicked frenzy. Toby sniffed, sensing danger. His instinct to protect kicked in. He stood up, letting out a soft whimper, unsure whether to stay with Tabitha or go investigate. His gaze darted between Lily, who had noticed the chaos, and the terrified little dog, now darting between the legs of startled fairgoers. Toby barked once, a sharp sound aimed at getting Lily's attention, trying to alert her to the danger. Lily's eyes locked onto his for a split second, and her expression softened. "Toby, stay with Tabitha," she said firmly, though her voice wavered with concern. Toby hesitated, his eyes following her as she moved swiftly toward the scene. He let out another small bark, his muscles tensing. He didn't like being left behind when something seemed wrong. Lily was a leader, but he felt an overwhelming urge to help. Toby paced a little, keeping a close eye on Tabitha, who was still oblivious to the unfolding chaos. She was busy pawing at a nearby leaf, happy and content. Toby's heart raced. He didn't want to leave her, but he also wanted to make sure that Lily didn't forget about the fright. He wanted to make sure Lily didn't forget about the fright and terror or get too far from safety. He barked again, louder this time, watching Lily weave through the crowd. His worry was clear. His eyes followed her every move, tail rigid, body on high alert. A sharp squeak drew his attention back to Tabitha, who was now playfully nudging him with her nose. Toby lowered his head, giving her a quick lick of reassurance before turning his attention back to the commotion. From where he sat, Toby could see it all happening. A little boy, completely unaware, was waving bright red balloons shaped like some kind of monster. Toby's sharp eyes saw how the balloon jerked and bounced in the air right above the little terrier, who cowered at the sight of it. The dog's panic was clear. He thought the balloon was a predator, something dangerous that needed to be escaped at all cost. Toby barked again, this time at the boy, his deep growl underlying the sound. He wanted the boy to stop, to realize what he had done. Lily, too, had seen the cause of the terrier's panic. She knelt down in the grass, calling softly to the dog, her hands outstretched, calm and reassuring. Toby's tail wagged slightly. He trusted Lily to make things right. She always did. He watched as the terrier, shaking and panting, slowly inched its way toward her. Toby let out a soft whimper, his eyes flicking between Lily and Tabitha, making sure neither of them needed him. The boy had finally stopped waving the balloon, his mother kneeling down beside him, explaining something in a hushed tone. Toby could sense the change in the air, the tension starting to dissolve. The terrier was now resting in Lily's arms, safe and comforted, its fear slowly fading. Toby sat down, letting out a soft sigh of relief. His eyes met Lily's across the crowd, and she smiled at him, a silent reassurance that everything was okay. Toby felt the weight of his responsibilities ease just a bit. He glanced down at Tabitha, who was now sprawled out beside him, blissfully unaware of the drama that had just unfolded. He gave her another quick lick on the ear before settling down next to her, content in his role as protector once more. Even from a distance, Toby could tell that Lily had everything under control, and that was enough for him. He stayed by Tabitha's side, watching over her like always, his sharp eyes scanning the crowd just in case anything else went wrong. The remainder of the fair proceeded smoothly, with the excitement of the earlier incident fading into the background. Lily and her mother continued their work at the booth, engaging with potential adopters and sharing information about the animals. Tabitha's foster family had a steady stream of visitors interested in meeting her, and Lily felt hopeful that one of them would be a perfect match. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden light over the fairgrounds, Lily and her mother prepared to pack up their booth. The event had been a success, with many visitors expressing interest in adopting animals from the shelter. Several families had even expressed a strong interest in meeting Tabitha, which was incredibly promising. Tabitha's foster family decided to stay a bit longer, hoping to find a suitable adopter. Lily gave Tabitha one last affectionate hug, feeling a mix of happiness and sadness. She was grateful for the progress Tabitha had made and hopeful that she would soon find a loving forever home. Toby stood close to Lily, his eyes darting between the bustling crowd and Tabitha, who was playing in the adoption area just a few steps away. He could see her tail wagging energetically, her playful barks mixing with the noise of the fair, but underneath his excitement, Toby felt a strange sense of unease. He wasn't used to being away from her for long, and now, with all these unfamiliar faces, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. Tabitha had been with her foster family for a while now, but today was different. Today they were at the pet adoption fair, and now, as he watched Tabitha interact with potential adopters, Toby couldn't help but feel protective. He had grown so used to being her companion, her guide, that the idea of saying goodbye tugged at something deep inside him. His ears perked up as Tabitha bounded over to a group of children, her energy infectious as she playfully chased after a bouncing ball. People nearby laughed at her antics, clearly charmed by this little pup. Toby's tail wagged slightly as he watched, proud of how far she had come, but also nervous about what might happen next. Lily knelt down beside Toby, stroking his fur gently. "She's doing great, isn't she, boy?" she said softly. Toby responded with a small whimper. His eyes locked on Tabitha as if to ask, "Are they going to take her away?" Lily seemed to understand. "I know, Toby," she whispered, her voice tinged with emotion. "It's hard, but we knew this day would come. She needs a family to call her own, just like you found me." Toby glanced up at her, and back at Tabitha. She had come such a long way since that first day when they had found her, trembling under the pile of leaves. Now she was confident, curious, and full of life. He had been by her side through all of it, protecting her, playing with her, making sure she always felt safe. But now it seemed like this role was changing, and he wasn't quite sure how to feel about it. As the fair continued, more families stopped by to meet Tabitha. Each time someone knelt down to pet her or play with her, Toby would tense up, watching carefully. He wanted to make sure that whoever took her home would be the right one, someone who would love her as much as Lily loved him. He let out a low whine, nudging Lily's leg as if to say, "Don't forget her. Don't let them take her unless they're the right ones." Lily reached down and scratched behind his ears. "She'll be okay, Toby," she reassured him. "We'll make sure of it." Despite her words, Toby could feel the tension in the air. Lily's mom had been speaking with some of the volunteers about potential adopters, and he could tell they were all hopeful. Everyone wanted the best for Tabitha, but that didn't make it any easier. Toby had been through this before. Finding a forever home wasn't simple, and it wasn't something you could rush. But seeing Tabitha surrounded by all these new faces made it feel like goodbye was creeping closer. As the day wore on, more people passed through the adoption area, and Toby watched as Tabitha greeted each one with her usual enthusiasm. He noticed a young couple talking to Amanda, the shelter director, their eyes occasionally drifting toward Tabitha. Toby's ears twitched as he listened to their conversation. They seemed kind, gentle, and genuinely interested in giving Tabitha a good home. Still, Toby stayed watchful, his gaze never leaving her. By late afternoon, the fair was beginning to wind down. Tabitha, now tired from all the attention, curled up in a small patch of shade, her eyes drooping as she fought off sleep. Toby padded over to her, laying down next to her with a soft sigh. He nudged her gently as if to remind her that he was still there, watching out for her. As Lily and her mom prepared to leave, Toby stood up, his eyes flickering between Tabitha and Lily. He let out a soft bark, as if to ask, "Are we leaving her behind?" Lily knelt beside him, her hand resting on his back. "Not yet, Toby. We'll visit her again soon, but one day she'll find her family, just like you did." Toby pressed his head against her, understanding her words, but not fully ready to accept them. He watched as Lily gave Tabitha one last affectionate hug before they headed toward the car. He turned back, glancing at Tabitha one last time as she settled back into her spot. As they walked away, Toby couldn't help but feel both proud and sad. Proud of how far Tabitha had come, but sad that their time together might soon be coming to an end. But deep down, he knew that this was part of her journey, just as it had been part of his. She was ready for her forever home, and though Toby would miss her, he knew he knew she was destined for something special. As Lily and her mother made their way home, the evening air was filled with a sense of contentment. The reflection on the day's events, including the unexpected escape and Lily's role in helping the frightened terrier, the experience had reinforced the importance of remaining calm in the face of challenges and the impact of their efforts in supporting the shelter's mission. That night, as Lily and Toby settled into their cozy home, Lily felt a renewed sense of purpose. The fair had been a whirlwind of activity, but it had also been a reminder of the difference they could make in the lives of animals and their potential adopters. As she drifted off to sleep, Lily felt a deep sense of fulfillment, ready to embrace whatever adventures lay ahead. The fair had ended, but the memories of the day, both the triumphs and the challenges, would stay with Lily for a long time. She knew that, despite the unpredictability of working with animals, the rewards of making a positive impact were worth every effort. With Toby by her side, she looked forward to continuing her journey of compassion and dedication, confident that together they could make a difference in the world of animal rescue. And that is the end of chapter 6. Thank you all for, again, going on this journey with me and listening to my story. And if you have a story that you'd like to be heard or read, please, I want to hear it. Please send your self-published, unpublished works, poems, short stories, screenplays to the email address in the description below, and you might be the next featured author in an episode of I'll Read That. We're building a community here where writers support other writers, where readers can have a new sense of what's out there and give authors an opportunity to shine and grow, especially in their community. So, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and drop those thoughts in the comments, because your critiques, your comments, your issues with the work can really benefit authors and writers in the future and help them grow, including their stories. So, as always, please keep writing, and I'll read that.
I'll read that, a story to be told, unpublished words.